Hi everyone. I don't know if I'm going live right now or not. I think so. I'm waiting for Paeton to join us, who's doing the wonderful Tour de France trip from John O'Groats up to Land's End. And if they're there, Colin, can they join us now? Oh, we've got Callum and Paeton. I didn't know. And Andi at the bottom. Fantastic. Hiya, how are you all doing?
Yeah,
I'm good, thanks.
Good, thanks.
Thank you for joining us today. Paeton, I've just been reading the Zoe Vicarage article that you did. I had no idea this was such a personal thing for you.
It is very, very personal because it's a celebration of my own journey as part of my transition and finding who I am and becoming fully integrated and complete as a person. But it's also really important for the message that we want to send about raising awareness of transgender issues and also raising money to support Chrysalis and the work that that organization does. So it's very personal to me, especially with my wee Bern along doing the ride with me.
So what is it like, Callum, to be doing it as a family effort?
It's cool. It's very cool. It's nice to have them along with me because also they're sort of my friend, so I can piss them off and all this and that. But no, it's very nice. But we've been wanting to do something like this for a long time coming now.
And how is training going?
Yeah, it's going. It's not going as well as I would like it to go, but part of the challenge is I struggle with depression as well. So in addition to resolving gender dysphoria, I also have to cope with a fairly significant mental health challenge. So it does make the training challenging sometimes. For example, last week I didn't touch my bike the whole week because I didn't have the right amount of headspace to get on a bike and push myself. It was more about putting one foot in front of the other and just getting through the day. So it does add an extra element. But yeah, it's going all right. We're a bit rushed off our feet because we came in from a training session 2 minutes before we had to do the mic and camera check for this interview, and then quickly in the shower now. So we're still a bit wet and sweaty. And
You look great. I know you just look brilliant. Thank you for putting the effort in. Thank you. I think what you said about mental health is important because when you are on the front lines and doing this activism, you really want to do it, you want to push it, you want to really go there, but we have to take on board the personal cost. We have to put ourselves first. And how do you manage that friction, especially under lockdown conditions?
It's been very difficult, and this is one of the reasons why supporting Chrysalis is so important to me, why I'm so passionate about it, because when lockdown happened, what happened was all the people that were getting support through peer support groups and being able to visit and socialize and talk to other people, suddenly everyone was isolated and denied access to that support. So it was really, really difficult. And what Chrysalis did, they just moved heaven and earth to continue giving that level of support to people through online meetings and phone calls, check-ins, see how you're doing, emails, that sort of thing. And honestly, if it wasn't for that, I don't know where I'd be today, because myself and many, many other people, the support that Chrysalis has given us as transgender individuals going through an already tough time before everything else that happened, it was a lifesaver, really. So it's all about creating space and time for yourself and working on yourself and understanding what your limitations are. And I use the spoon theory a lot, which is all about we've only got so many spoons during the day that we have to use, and sometimes you have to be careful where you allocate those spoons to, so that you don't get to the end of the day and you're absolutely ragged.
I always use the spinning plates. Which plates need my attention to spin? Some you have to let fall. It's life. Yeah. I think that it's important that Chrysalis offered you that spaces and those spaces online, and I think even myself, when you think about the things that you see online because of lockdown, we're told to get online. Online's not a safe space for a lot of people. It can be very, very challenging. And I think that's another example where LGBT organisations have, under weeks, a time of weeks, have revolutionised and changed their services to keep providing it to the community.
Absolutely. And I mean, Chrysalis is very personal to me, but they're not the only organisation. And that's one of the reasons why I'm doing the Tour de Trans, because when the whole idea popped into my head, I've been wanting to do a Land's End to John O'Groats bike ride for years, but I've never had the, the conviction to do it. But shortly after lockdown, when I got back into cycling and started training, I decided I was going to do this as soon as I could. And then started thinking about it, and then I thought, Tour de Trans, good play on words, good name. And then I thought, well, maybe it can be a bit more, because I'm sure there are other organisations that are working furiously in the background to continue providing support to people across the country. Hence, the idea of linking up with other support groups and creating a national presence and a national voice and a sense of unity that, can bring all these organisations together and go, yeah, we're all part of something that is really big, and it affects people from the southernmost to the northernmost tip of this country. And that's really what the strapline of the tour, which is across genders, across Britain. And that's a message I absolutely want to send out there. And, not only to individuals that, you may be sitting in a little village somewhere in the Highlands or the Hebrides or, Yorkshire, and you're not alone as a transgender individual. And also, the organisations and the volunteers that are giving so tirelessly and selflessly to support people, they're also part of something really, really big. So we wanted to kind of try and create a sense of family and a sense of unity amongst all these groups, because, it's not any one of us that has experienced the last 3, 4, 5 months, I've lost count now, in isolation. It's affected every single person.
Absolutely, absolutely. And it's taken its toll. And I think that the Tour de Trans is going to be on August the 13th is the beginning. Mm-hmm. And do you know what date you'll hit Scotland?
We will be, our first Scottish port of call is Kendal.
Right.
To Lockerbie.
Right.
And that will be Friday the 21st. Then Saturday the 22nd, Edinburgh. Then Pitlochry, Inverness, John O'Groats. On the 25th of August. We've got a day spare in case one of us falls off or we have a problem. Hopefully we won't, but we're hoping to be in John O'Groats on the 25th.
And would you like community groups to join you on the route? Would you like them to come and meet you? I can see people out with placards with across Britain, across gender on them. Absolutely. I think that would be great.
What we're hoping for, and I'm sorry if it might seem a bit like this is all new, because it actually is. Part of the challenge of organising this tour has been the situation that we're in. Mm-hmm. And, we were always organising it and planning it with the knowledge, with this sort of Damocles sword over our head that it may not be able to go ahead for whatever reason. But as the restrictions have lifted and we've gotten a clearer idea of where we stand as a society, socially, we've been able to add bits to it. And what we're doing now is we have 4 what we call Pride Along events, which are an opportunity for people to come and take part in an organised ceremonial bike ride. That's not part of the actual tour or anything, but it's about arriving at a place and showing your support and doing a bike ride. And there'll be a bit of, it's sort of kind of a mini Pride type event, I guess you could call it. There's the first one is the 14th of August in Totnes, and then Sunday the 16th of August in Southampton. I just have to check my dates here to make sure I'm not Sunday the 16th of August in Southampton, and then the 19th of August in Manchester, and then the one that we're all really excited about, the 22nd in Edinburgh.
So you wanting groups to come out and
what we're doing?
People on bikes, everybody on bikes, come and join you. Queer people, families, the lot.
Absolutely, anybody and everybody that knows someone that's trans, likes someone that's trans, loves someone that's trans, or is trans themselves, or actually has nothing to do with anyone that is trans, but just likes the message of the tour. That's all about inclusivity. and accessibility. You know, the message of this is, hey, we're just normal people. We're like everybody else. We're just trying to live our lives and be happy and be normal, happy, productive members of society. That's the message. So it's all about inclusivity. Now, we've just been speaking to an organization called Pride Out, which organized a socially distanced national bike ride project for Pride. And they're going to be supporting the Tour de France, and we're going to be, in addition to being able to come along and take part in these events, people will be able to actually do their own Pride Out ride, what we call a Pride Along, a Tour de France Pride Along, and take photographs and then post it on social media with the Tour de France hashtag. So even if they can't physically get to the tour, or the tour is not coming anywhere near them, they can still get out there and show their support and be a part of it, and encourage people to support both the goals of the tour in terms of awareness of transgender issues, and fundraising to support Chrysalis. And that's going to be announced officially in the next couple of days. So it's a scoop. We're still making it up as we go along to a large degree.
Yeah, absolutely. And I think we all have to, because the times will keep changing as things keep changing. I've also been told that you are a secret fifer.
I am. My family comes from West Weems.
Oh, it's not far from me.
Good coal mining stock. They went over to South Africa at the behest of the British government to work the coal mines then. So I was born and grew up in South Africa, but I'm second generation Scots. And, all my aunts and uncles were as broad as can get, which is why the minute I talk to someone with a Scots brogue, mine comes out too. And Scotland is my spiritual home. I've got it's always been the place I want to be. And we're really excited about riding the length of Scotland. And hopefully we'll, wave at Kirkcaldy and West Weems as we go past.
Fantastic, and we'll definitely try and get some cyclists out to join you from Fife. Can we bring Andi in, because I know this couldn't have been done without the support of Chrysalis.
Hey.
Hello. I know Josie I've spoke to Josie from Chrysalis, and that you're based in Southampton, and I know of the services that you provide. Paeton's kind of described some as well. How has it been to still provide for the community under lockdown?
Interesting, exciting. I think the speed that everybody responded, it's like, we need to do something now. So we support across Hampshire and Dorset. And that very first thing, like Paeton said, was we got on the phones. We just started phoning people, emailing them, saying, what do you want? We're here. And we built up a lot of one-to-one contact. Since then, we've been able to bring our support groups back online. So we've got 15 odd support groups, and we're running the workshops as well. And that's meant that the one-to-one support has tailed off a little bit. But actually, there's still a fair chunk of that. I've got somebody that I'm phoning twice a week, and lots of other volunteers doing that as well. It's brought us closer together as a community. I really think it has.
I would agree. Up here, have you had access to other funding streams to cope with the changes?
Well, we lost the marathon.
Right.
We lost Pride. We lost our conference. So all of those places that we would have gone to raise money. We had a place in the London Marathon for the first time ever. So Amy was coming all the way over from Seattle to do that. So when Paeton got in touch with me and said they wanted to do this, it's like, that's just so amazing. It's just incredible. I was tempted, but I'm just about couch to 5K level of cycling. So maybe next year.
I was talking to Rich from Pride Out, and he's convinced me to get a bike as well. Everybody's saying, get a bike.
Brilliant. Yeah, definitely.
What has been involved with the Tour de France been like? It's very exciting, and I think it's a great opportunity for Chrysalis to link up with so many other organisations, community groups with the same aims, people as well that can get on their bikes and support you guys It's brilliant. What are you hoping to get out of this? Not just raising awareness and funds. What else are you wanting to do?
I think it's those links. Definitely, it's those links. For all of us feeling really alone, feeling really isolated, and as an organisation feel isolated, you feel like you're in this on your own. So what Paeton's been doing and what we've been doing, connecting up the work that Josie's done as well, finding all the groups, sending all the emails, just getting on each other's radar, really.
Mm-hmm. And I think, like, when you open your radar and see those groups out there, it does, like Paeton said, we're all in this together, and we're all trying to learn ways to cope, and we can all kind of learn of each other and complement each other in that way. And it's lovely to find groups out there that have exactly the same ethos and are trying to do the same thing, trying to provide the same services to the same aspects of the community.
I think it's also about having something positive to look forward to. When we were first talking about this, everything was just like, there was this tiny little world that we were living in. I was balanced on a box in the bedroom with my laptop on toilet roll so that I could just about have confidential conversations. And the world was, just tight and tiny. And this is just something with vision and something positive. And it's about health. It's about personal journey, but it's also that, like Paeton said, it's that length and breadth of
it's not just
England and Scotland.
It's not just a theory, it's the physically doing it, it's that physicality. And I think the whatever your ideas or thoughts are, being on a bike so mainstream, we all love, if we can cycle on a bike, we all love getting on a bike, we all love getting out, kids, we've all done it. And I think that itself bonds us to these issues, and it gives us space to talk about these issues.
And that it's for anybody, isn't it? The common level of that being trans is simply an aspect of who we are. And most of the time it's actually quite a small aspect. Sometimes it's the big thing that we need to deal with, but actually being an incredible cyclist or a singer or all these other things, let's shout about everything else that makes up the whole person, that
are mostly sometimes so much more important than anything else that goes on, so much more impressive anyway. Can we bring Paeton and Callum back in? Can we maybe talk about, like, when you get to Scotland, you are wanting people to show up, so you're wanting, like, Trans Alliance Scotland, I'm sure Leap Sports will be involved. I know that Pride Out have got Scottish groups as well. How do you want them to get involved? We've got your Twitter handle on screen. How else do you want them to get involved? How can they make contact?
Well, they can make contact Tour de Trans on Twitter or Tour de Trans on Instagram. There is, at the Chrysalis GIM Facebook page, there is a calendar for the event. And there is a lot of communication on that going on around that. And we have tourdetrans.co.uk, the website. I have a blog which I'm starting to write on that website, and that gives all the information that we update as much as we can. Essentially, there are three areas that people can get involved. The first one is to come along to a Pride Along event and either take part in the actual ride or just come along and be there, wave a flag, show their support, show their pride. The second one is to take part in the Pride Along in conjunction with Pride Ride, which is, go out for a ride, take photographs and post it on social media with the Tour de Trans hashtag. And then the third way is to just encourage people to support the fundraising aspect. We want to give people, I know it's more focused around Chrysalis, the actual fundraising, but given the size of the organization and the huge area we cover, every single pound is desperately needed. So, but if people feel that, hey, I want to contribute, but I'm a little bit hesitant about contributing to an organization that operates in the south of England and I'm living in Scotland, then make a donation to your local group, whatever that is. Reach into your pocket and take out £20 and donate to Pink Saltire or whatever other organization is important to you. It's all about you used the word physicality, and that's I think is a really important aspect about this. It's not just about speaking and waving a flag. It's actually doing something and showing
Yeah.
tangible as a result. So, if 5 or 6 organizations across the length of Britain can end up with, 50 or 60 or 300 pounds more in their coffers than they had, and that's as a result of people going, oh, Tour de France, what's that all about? Yeah, I'll donate to my local organization. We're great. That's fantastic. That's the kind of result that we want to achieve. So, this is the first one. We are planning to do this again. And I mean, my dream for this, my vision is that it becomes a fixture that people go, have you done Ride London? No, but I've done the Tour de France. Oh, right, excellent, and it just becomes a normal part of the cycling world and society. It's all about, exactly what Andy said. Being trans is, we don't have to have things for blonde people's pride or people with long second left toe pride or anything like that. And, I would love us as a society to get to that point where being trans or, whatever your sexual orientation or the color of your skin or the length of your hair is completely irrelevant. It's a characteristic and it's no more important than that.
Mm-hmm. I think what you've said as well, I can see a ride along happening to a centre, social distance policy I live in, and everybody having a stall up, everybody wanting to raise awareness, everybody waving their flags. And I think that would be great, because we've had so many prides cancelled. We've had digital prides, but that physical, being able to maybe get together, get on our bikes and celebrate this is so important, and raise some funds for all of us. Yeah.
Absolutely. And yeah, Andy's like funding. We were hoping to sign a big sponsor, like one of the big name corporates, and no, we weren't. It would be nice though. But that was the other reason. A lot of people have asked, why are you doing this now? You're crazy. This is just nuts. Why in the face of all of that's happening are you trying to organize something like that? And that's the exact reason why so much has been cancelled. There's such a vacuum. And, I just really wanted to try and give something back to people that they can be part of in this vacuum that we're all sitting in at the moment because of the situation. And we absolutely can do this, still comply with whatever social conduct rules are in place. We can be as socially distant as necessary, and everything is designed to be modular and easily changeable at the last minute as well. So we will be working and ensuring that wherever we go, whatever happens complies with the local regulations and requirements. And that's very important, because obviously people's health is always our first priority.
And you've even bought a caravan to make sure this happens.
Yeah, sold my beloved Land Rover Defender, and we've bought a caravan and a tow car, and we're busy kitting her out at the moment. My partner Em is going to be towing the van, and she's not very happy about this because she's never towed before, so it's her own personal challenge and journey as well.
The Tour de Van as well. We should celebrate that. That's another hashtag we should get going.
Yeah, that's it, yeah. She's already had someone at work say that they're going to start a GoFundMe page to raise funds for the caravan support driver for the Tour de France. Like, yeah, what for? Yeah.
Why not?
Absolutely.
Why not? And it's brilliant for you to join us today. Thank you so much to all three of you. And the Tour de France, I think it's a great project, and hopefully I'll have a bike by the time you get up here, and I can join in.
We can always bring one for you, Don.
Oh, please do, if you can do that. If anybody's watching that wants to send a bike, I'll give you my address. There's so many ways as well people can get involved, and it's great that you have got it. So even if they can't get out when you are here, if they want to go out, take a photo, they can show their solidarity, they can show that online, and that as well can hopefully raise awareness. People are asked, so what is this about? What was that about? And people can explain. It's a great way to be inclusive.
Yeah, it's all about starting and having positive conversations. My own personal experience with this whole transition, because I only started going through my own journey to completion in February of this year. So just as I started to go, what the heck is happening to me? Everything around me was going. So, and very, very quickly, I learned that most of the problems that we encounter as people who are not part of the mainstream heteronormative cisgender society is driven by ignorance and a lack of understanding of what we're really talking about. My personal bugbear is the conflation of gender identity and natal or birth sex. So, I'll talk to the trees about that, because I think it's a very important conversation to have. And when people start understanding that the truth and the reality, their attitude changes very quickly, and they realize that this is actually something that they need to know more about. And that's really what we want. We want people to be having conversations about all of these things, that we get a message out there that, this is something that is real, is very, very valid, and it's not something that can just be swept under the carpet or explained away with some foobar, pull it out of your ear rhetoric about, whatever you think gender is. And we need to have these positive conversations and help people to understand, because when they understand, their attitude changes very, very quickly, and they realize that, this is a real thing. Gender identity is very, very important.
I can relate to that, having those similar conversations. And even though, Callum, you rolled your eyes, I'm going to continue. When even being the kind of old expression, being the only cis person in the room sometimes is really important. And if you're open to that experience, as I have been, like I've gone from he, him to he, they, and that journey is open and up as well. And I'm as I think if people are if we create the space where people are open to have those conversations, open to relate to that on a personal level, which is why this is so important, because it's such a personal thing for you, Paeton. People can relate to that, and I think when they are open to that, change does happen. Conversations will happen.
Absolutely, it's a very important thing, and I, for example, come from a very orthodox, strict Catholic religious family, and I've in a very short space of time came out to everyone in my family, and it ended up with me putting an announcement on my Facebook page and just telling the whole world, look, this is what's happened, and trying to explain and trying to get people to understand what the word transgender means. You've got to go to cisgender, and of course, the minute you say cisgender, people's eyes glaze over, and then then you start talking about being non-binary, and then the head falls off. But once you've had these conversations, and you drill it down to very simple things like going to the toilet in public, as a non-binary person, I'm not comfortable in either a man or a woman's toilet, but I have no choice. So where does that leave me? And when I talk about the experiences that I've had, just being forced to go into use a toilet facility that is not gender appropriate for me, they realize, well, okay, so it's a little bit more than just what we thought it was, which was a lot of nonsense. And people need to hear these things and engage and realize that I don't like speaking in hashtag, but there is a hashtag on Twitter at the moment which is trans people are normal people. And that's a message that really needs to get out there. It's just, and that's what we really want to and also there has been obviously a lot of talk at the moment about non-binary, and snowflakes and all those wonderful terms. And I always go, snowflake, I love it. Call me a snowflake all day long. I love snow, and snowflakes are the most amazing things.
You've got to claim that queer heritage of claiming slurs as your own and making them your own, and I think that's powerful. Yeah, I do. And what was I going to say as you were talking? I've forgotten now. It's gone. Oh dear, terrible. That's my door. Hopefully my partner will get it. How embarrassing. Well, it is Non-Binary Awareness Week, and I think that is an important thing to raise, and even the things that I've tweeted and the response that I've got. And again, like you've said, when you have those conversations, there's a lot of understanding, there's a lot of theory. But like you've just said regarding toilets, there are material inequalities there. There are things that just basically impede day-to-day life, filling in forms, going to the toilet, claiming benefits. These things are exclusionary to non-binary people. And I think it's a good point to raise that. It's a good opportunity to raise that here as well.
Yeah, absolutely. I quoted an example in the LGBT sports media article about Zwift, which is an online cycling platform, which obviously has absolutely taken off because people have not been able to get out on the road as much. And they hosted, as part of Pride, they hosted a bunch of rides that were led by prominent LGBT plus sports people, one of whom was one of my personal heroes, Philippa York. And I went to sign up to take part in this ride, and I was presented with male or female as gender choice. So, firstly, it's a conflation of two concepts, and secondly, it's very much not inclusive of non-binary people. So I actually challenged Zwift on this, and I've got their commitment that they're serious about it, and there's something that they're working to change. Now, if that thing comes out of the tour, and as a result, 5 other people are able to sign up and feel respected as individuals and have their identity not validated, because we don't need to be validated by other people. We are who we are. But to be able to not have to go, fine, I'll click man or I'll click woman, even though that's not what I am. It's a very important thing. We need to start changing the whole social discussion about gender. My question is, why is it relevant in the first place?
Yeah, that's true. I can bring Andi back, because maybe Andi could tell us through Chrysalis what other changes that society needs to make to be more inclusive to non-binary people.
I think the biggest single takeaway is gender neutral language. If you don't need to put gender in there, so if it's policy, if you're thinking, it's so quick to change from thinking about that person to people. The whole thing. I'm with Paeton on that gender identity, again, it's a tiny fraction of who all of us are. So is it really necessary? Do I even need it on my passport? Who needs to know? Quite frankly,
I can relate to that sometimes, where not so recently because of lockdown, but you get up, you do your things, and you leave the house, and it's when you come across other people, that's the first time I'm gendered in a day. It's the first time it's crossed my mind, and I'm like, oh, now I have to put effort in here and try and do something, and it's very, very peculiar. So I do agree with you about gender neutral language and how simple that is. It's such a simple change.
Gender neutral spaces as well is an obvious thing, but I agree with you about lockdown, that actually it's taken away so much frantic worrying about how people see me, because you see this bit, so that's it, that's all anybody's gonna see of anybody for forever. Do you miss knees? I know it's one of those crazy, it's like I don't have a thing for knees, but this casual view of the back of somebody's head or something.
I miss being on buses. Silly being on buses. I'd love to have you all back to thank you for doing such a great interview and being involved. And it's a great privilege to try and raise awareness of the Tour de Trans, to try and get some Scottish groups involved, some community groups out, try and get some funds raised. We could all do with it. All send us money, send Chrysalis money, send us thank. We just would be so grateful and have those conversations. Have a conversation about a bike. Why are they shaped the way they are? Gender neutral bikes. Let's do that.
Yeah, absolutely. And I can talk about this all day long. But part of my personal experience and my own personal journey was, I have been cycling for a long time, but I had to decide whether it was really part of me, or was it part of the heteronormative cisgendered person I've been trying to be for my whole life. And part of that process was when I understood that cycling is absolutely part of the integrated person that I am. And the next question was, do I need to change my bike? Because I had a man's bike, and when you start getting into the technicality of it, there is actually very little difference between man and women's bike frames. There are slight differences to cater for slight biomechanical differences in skeleton and things like that. But it's so, because I have always been better on, for example, I ski, and the best skiing experience I've ever had is on women's skis. And now, it just all makes sense. But anyway, I then realized, no, actually this bike really fits me. It's no longer relevant because that bike now belongs to my little Byrne here. He's inherited, but the bikes all have names. So his bike is called
Lizzie.
And is Lizzie non-binary?
God knows. I need to ask her.
Okay, we're not sure whether Lizzie is non-binary yet. We're still working on that one, but
she's deciding.
She's deciding.
Questioning.
Yes, questioning.
She's questioning. Yeah. And I just keep coming back to the why is it relevant? A person's natal or birth sex is their own business. Frankly, it's got absolutely nothing to do with anybody else unless it is medically relevant. As far as I'm concerned, that's all that we need to worry about. For the rest of it, we're people.
And if you take that back to all the socialization and the education that we go through, what a waste of time. There's so much more important things that we should be encouraging in society than like long hair for girls or whatever, that nonsense, or specific bike frames. I totally agree. We've got more pressing worries to think about. And I think maybe global pandemics is one of those things that we should really be worrying about more than gender and putting our effort into. And there's a lot of things that the activism that is going amiss that we could do for like equality, for race relations, for stuff, for disability, for getting rid of borders when it's being wasted arguing about gender and things like that. It's such a waste. It really, really is. So I'm glad that the Tour de Trans is an opportunity for us all to come together. Like you said, across genders, across Britain, a lot of us. So thank you for doing it. I'm really excited, and I'll be keeping track of you from like the 13th of August. I'll be looking forward to finding out what he's got up to.
Excellent. And if we get enough support for the Edinburgh Pride Along event, Callum and I, making a promise now, we'll ride into Edinburgh wearing our kilts.
Oh dear, have you been on a bike wearing a kilt?
No, I've been skiing. I've skied wearing a kilt, but I've not been on a bike with a kilt on.
I think the angle of the air might be difficult.
There will be some bungee cords involved.
You'll need something to weigh your spurn down.
Yeah, well, I've still got to decide what I'm doing about all that, because my kilt outfit was very much part of my cisgendered life. So I'm not sure where I'm going to go with that, but I'll figure something out.
Well, that'll be fun, though. Keep us informed. I'm looking forward to that as well. That's a whole new angle to Tour de Trans, how to make a kilt non-binary. We'll find out when you reach Edinburgh. Thank you so much for joining me today. It's been a great interview, and it's been lovely to meet you. Hopefully I might meet you all physically one day when you're up here.
Excellent.
No,
thank you. Thank you for your time, and thanks Pink Saltire for your support. And we look forward to a really good event.
Us too. We're really excited about it. Really excited. And I need to thank Colin, who's doing tech support. I'm sure you've all met Colin over in Oban. So thank you, Colin, and we'll see you all next week for more interviews. Thank you.
Thank you so much.
Thank you, Dan. Take care.
Bye.
Bye-bye.